Material love is analogical. You can love a little, you can love a lot, you can love so and so. Okay, it changes. In spirituality, love is digital, on, off. You're either connected or you're not. That's it. So that's what love is. And so if you love in spirituality, if you love material goods, you're disconnected from God and you're connected to the money. If you are connected to love, you don't love the money. You can use it, and it's okay. You can have all the money in the world. It doesn't matter, but you're not attached to it. You're not connected to it because you're connected to God. You can be connected and go on both sides. This is a different episode with respect to other episodes that I've recorded so far. And why, 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 why this? Why is it special? Because the topic is about one of the things I've felt a very, very strong conflict with myself. And I know for sure, because I've been working with many people, that this conflict is something that is shared by many other people. And that is, on one side, I want to grow as a human being, which means having possessions, riches, the whole thing, the whole shebang. Okay. And on the other side, I have my, spiritual journey that I want to follow. I don't want to stop that. And according to my religion, usually the Christian religion, there is a conflict there because you cannot love both. You cannot love God and your riches and your material possessions at the same time. Okay, that is true that our religion has made it this way, but it's not what it should be because there is no conflict, actually. And I will be explaining this in this episode. Don't if this thing is not something that you're concerned with, you have very clear ideas, okay, and you know exactly how to give to your riches, to your material positions, the true importance, and the same for God. Good, or perhaps you don't even believe in God, so that really is very simple for you. You don't have to make a choice. But if you do, and I know, like I said, many people have had that problem and still have that problem, I want to reassure them how you should go about managing these two aspects, very important aspects of your life, if you have both these aspects, of course, I repeat. So let's say that you have a dog and you have your children, let's say one child. And can you love both? Of course you can. You can love your dog, and you can love your child. Because why can you do that? Because they are at two different levels. I mean, you love your dog, and you will give it anything that it needs. And you give him even more. You take him out every day and have fun with him, whatever. And then you have your child, but they're not in conflict. Why? Because they're at two different levels. But let's say that a situation where both your dog and your child are in danger. And for example, your house is burning, God forbid. So where do you go? Are you going to save your dog or are you going to save your child? You don't even have to ask yourself that question. Of course, you're going to save your child. Otherwise, perhaps you may have some priority issues. Okay, because you have to make a choice. And although you love both, and the pain of losing your dog will be excruciating, but you're still going to save your child because that is where your priority is. So the same thing is choosing between your material possessions and your spiritual possessions and your spiritual wealth. They're not in conflict, but you still have to make a decision. And that is your focus that decides. So you can have all the riches in the world, all of it, and still love God because your focus is on God. And you will use your wealth to help people, for example, because if you are a godly person and you're very close to God and to his teaching, whatever, you will want to follow his, let's say, instructions. Let's call it this way. Now, the problem with Christianity, I think that is its biggest mistake, I believe, is that they've put God and wealth or material possessions at the same level. So you cannot love both. Now, there's one thing that you have to understand, and I will explain this better, that in spirituality, in other words, even the books, the Gospels, the Old Testament, whatever, they are not exactly written in the same language that we use. In other words, the same words in spirituality and in our worldly matters may have different meanings. I will get more into this after, but this is very important. So, for example, the word love in our material world is one thing, in spiritual world is something different. And in the gospel, and I'll start from there. There's an episode where there were the Pharisees that wanted to trick Jesus into saying the false thing so that he could be either arrested or make him lose, let's say, the reputation. And that is when they asked Jesus, is it okay that we pay taxes to the Romans? Now, that was a very tricky question, because if Jesus had said that we should pay the taxes to the Romans, then they would have told the people, you see, this guy's with the Romans. I mean, let's remember, the Romans were occupiers in Israel at that time. And if Jesus had answered, no, we should not pay taxes to the Romans, they would have taken Jesus to the Romans to be arrested or perhaps even killed by the Romans. Jesus went beyond that. Why? Because he put the two things into a different level. You didn't have to make a choice like we're told to do. We don't have to choose between material and spiritual. He says, that's one thing. What's on that coin? It's you see the image of Caesar. Okay, that's Caesar? Yeah, okay, so this is Caesar's. So you have to give it to Caesar. But what is God is God's. Clear? Very simple, and yet very enlightening. Then there's another passage where it's still the Pharisees were complaining to Jesus that the disciples, his apostles, were eating without washing their hands first. And that was a very precise precept in the Torah. And Jesus says, remember, I'm reading it. What goes into someone's mouth does not defile them, but what comes out of their mouth, that is what defiles them. Oh, this is a great sentence. Wow. And he says, look, out there, everything has been created by God. So what's out there, it's clean, it's holy, it's pure. So even if they don't wash their hands, they're not putting something corrupt in their body because they can't, because it's pure. That's not a problem. What comes out of one's mouth, that is what makes a difference, because we are impure with our envy, jealousy, anger, whatever, you name it, all the bad things that we have. So everything that we say, in other words, through our mouth, lying, for example, treachery, whatever, what comes out of our mouth, that is the problem. That is impure. So never mind, okay, that, there was no such thing as hygiene at the time, so they didn't know that it could harm them to eat with a dirty hand. But that was not an issue at the time. But that is another very important question that makes you understand that what's out there is pure. Even gold, even riches, whatever, money, whatever. They're not the problem. The way we relate to these things, that's the problem. Well, let's get a look into that. Now, you have this young rich man who made a long trip to meet Jesus. And once he gets there, he says, I want to know more about spirituality. I want to reach the kingdom of heaven. Now, the reaction of Jesus was, yeah, okay. Okay, just listen, just follow the commandments, follow the precepts, do the right things. That's it. That's all you have. And so the young rich man replies back and says, look, I already do all these things. I do them already. I don't think it's enough. I want more. So what happens is that it says in the Bible that when he heard these words, he loved the young man. I'll get back to love. It's very important. But aside from that, he said, okay, if you want to be perfect, because that's what you're saying, you already do all the things that you should do, but you want to be more, right? You want to do more. Okay, so if you want to be perfect, sell everything you have, the whole thing, the whole shebang, everything. Just go and leave your family. You follow me. You come with me and the apostles. And so it says that the young rich man became very sad and went back. So at that point, Jesus pronounced the famous sentence: "It is easier for a camel to go through a needle's eye than a rich man goes to heaven." Now, this is a very interesting thing, because to be rich is not only about money, it's not only about material possession. So he talked in general, because richness, to be rich, means to be full. If you are full, you don't really have a desire. I mean, this young man was rich. He didn't desire more money. He desired something more than money. Okay. Or we can be rich in pride, for example, or we can be rich in power, where we feel in control. Okay. When there is no need for God because you already have everything that you want, then that is where the problem comes. That is where we have to be careful. So he wasn't just talking about the riches of that person, but everything that he was going to lose. Okay. And that the young man could not accept, because he's been living there for his entire life. That was his life. And basically, Jesus didn't just tell them, see, you have to give up on all these things. You have to give up on what your life has been so far. And that was very hard. Why? Because the focus makes a difference. That's all there is. It's a question of focus. You're either focusing on God, or you're focusing on your material world, or your personal history, whatever. So these are the things that make you rich. You can also be rich in pain. And you still can't, even if you're rich in pain, you've suffered so much. But if you're focused on the pain and the suffering that you have, or you had, you cannot go to God. There's no way. You need to have the desire, that emptiness. A desire is emptiness, spiritual emptiness, in order for you to desire God. And that's when your pain goes away. So he was speaking about two different things. Now, going back to the love, even the word love is a spirituality means one thing, in our world means another thing. Love for us is a feeling, is the feeling of love. That's not what we're talking about here. Now, love in our world comes and goes. Oh, we fall in love with a person and we would do just about anything, even die for that person. After 6 months, we don't care about that person anymore. I'm going to go to hell. Why? Because that's the way emotions work. They just work on thought. Our emotions change depending on what we think. So at the beginning, we see everything good about this person. We only think the best about this person that we have in front of us. And then after a while, what? He or she is so boring. He or she is a bit of a drag. Very annoying. Spiritual love is connection. Now, you see, the thing that really struck me about that sentence, it says that Jesus loved him. Right after the guy told him something. Why? Didn't he love him before? Why, he hated him? No, it's not that. He was not connected. That's why before Jesus tells the man, okay, just follow the precepts, follow the commandments, go on, do what every good Jew does, period. He wasn't connected. He didn't love him in spiritual terms. But when that guy told him, I want more, then something clicked in Jesus. And he said, well, that's interesting. That's pretty good. And he wanted to give him a chance. And he felt connected with that young man because wanting more is okay, whatever more it is, material or spiritual. And he said, okay, do this. Are you serious? Okay, do this. And that's where the young man failed. But he understood what was going on in that person's heart and mind because he was connected to him. That's what love is. It's not about the feeling. The feeling follows the intention of love. But love, you see, like material love is analogical. You can love a little, you can love a lot, you can love so and so. Okay, it changes. In spirituality, love is digital, on, off. You're either connected or you're not. That's it. So that's what love is. And so if you love in spirituality, if you love material goods, you're disconnected from God and you're connected to the money. If you are connected to love, you don't love the money. You can use it, and it's okay. You can have all the money in the world. It doesn't matter, but you're not attached to it. You're not connected to it because you're connected to God. You can be connected on both sides. While on earth, that's exactly what we do. We try to balance between God and wealth. It doesn't work. You have to make a very straight decision. Okay, so I hope this is clear. So if you had this problem like I had, as you see, you have no reason to have this problem. You want to grow as a human being, you want to grow professionally, you want to grow economically, go for it. Go. And you can still love God, you can still stay connected to God. And perhaps everything you do it for Him. Because you're going to help other people. You're going to help other people grow. You're going to help other people get out of trouble. For example, they would need money. Or you can help them in many other ways, but you're still connected to God. Your love is for God without having to give away your material possessions. I hope that is clear because I think this, if you have that problem, I think this will help you really overcome that threshold that has been stopping you until now. See you next time.